Tanisha, a young princess born without magic, lost her mother and was left in the hands of a cruel father who despises her and seeks her death. Yet, she holds a power far greater than any spell, the ability to see her tragic fate at the hands of her tyrant father. But will she find a way to escape this dark destiny, or is her future already sealed? Our story begins on a stormy night, with the birth of the little princess, whom her mother named Athanasia, meaning immortality. The little girl was born without any magical power, but when her mother kissed her, a magic circle appeared on her forehead. The mother then wept and passed away. The servants quickly gathered because of an order from His Majesty the Emperor to gather all the possessions of his wife Diana in the palace and burn them without a trace. He commanded them never to mention his newborn daughter's name in front of him, as he had never loved his wife. Several days pass. We see the servants in the palace with the young Princess Athanasia, but they don't care for her much. The hungry little princess falls asleep and enters a magical dream world filled with magic circles. She approaches a magic crystal with a book inside. When she draws close and bites the crystal, it breaks, and the magic book emerges. As she opens it, Athanasia hears her mother's voice telling her, "Take care of yourself, this is your future." She then sees a glimpse of her future as a young princess, standing in the palace before her father and everyone, being put on trial for violating the decree, and using a black magician to plot her father, the emperor's, assassination. Athanasia cries intensely, telling her father it didn't happen, and that they are mistaken, as all she ever wanted was his love. She begs him to save her. Her father, the emperor, tells her that she is not his daughter and that he has never loved her, then leaves, ordering them to imprison her forever. We return to reality. Athanasia wakes up, crying hysterically, and thinks to herself, "This cannot be my future." The maid, Lillian York, immediately rushes in, holds her, and tries to calm her down. Princess Athanasia thinks to herself that Lillian is the only one who comforts her. She is a count's daughter and her mother's friend, who gave up her life in a noble family to come to the palace as a maid to care for Athanasia. Without her, Athanasia would have been left to starve. She says to herself, "I'm just an infant princess, yet I know my future. Will anyone believe me?" All she knows now is that this is a world of magic, and every noble can use it. According to the legend, there is a tower that is the source of all magic, where a great magician resides, of whom it's said that it would be easy for him to erase the empire. However, the one with even more amazing magical powers is the emperor, her father. But Athanasia sees him as an unjust emperor, who banished and imprisoned her for a crime she didn't commit in her future dream. Athanasia tries to sleep again, but wakes up crying, seeing the same nightmare, and determined that this will never be her future. 3 years pass. We see the servants cleaning the palace. A new maid talks to an older one, saying she didn't expect the Ruby Palace to be so lively, as she'd heard the atmosphere there was always gloomy. She mentions she came to the palace to care for the princess, whom she heard was very lovely, and is eager to meet her. We see Princess Athanasia in her room, surrounded by many books. She looks out the window and asks the servants where they are going. A maid tells her that the flowers have bloomed beautifully, so they are going to tend to them. The princess gets excited and goes with them to help. She puts on working clothes and helps them with the decorations. While walking through the palace, she sees the new maid standing by one of the palace room doors, seemingly searching for something. Athanasia approaches and asks her what she's doing. The maid, nervously, says she is new and got lost. She looks at Athanasia and mistakes her for the gardener's daughter, not knowing she is Princess Athanasia. Athanasia asks her where she wants to go. The maid says she wants to go to a place full of shiny gold. Athanasia suggests the place with the golden wheat, golden bread, or sunflowers. The maid gets angry and tells her she means shiny, precious things. Athanasia informs her that valuable things are kept where people cannot see them and asks the maid to follow her. They arrive at the kitchen and stand outside. The maid asks Athanasia, "Are you mocking me, little girl? Does it make sense to keep valuables in the kitchen?" Athanasia explains that the Ruby Palace has been abandoned for years, so even if there were valuable items, they would have been taken out a long time ago. The maid then asks about the emperor. Athanasia tells her that His Majesty is too busy to care about them. They see the maid Hannah come out with a tray of sweets. When the new maid sees it, her eyes light up because the tray is decorated with real, genuine gemstones. She asks how Athanasia can get into the kitchen. Athanasia tells her to wait a moment, then goes to maid Hannah and asks for a few sweets. Maid Hannah agrees. Just as she is about to give her the sweets, Maid Says approaches and tells Hannah that it is not permissible to give Princess Athanasia things without permission. Athanasia approaches Shays and pleads with her. Maid Says is softened by her cuteness and gives her the entire tray of sweets, telling her not to tell Maid Lillian. Athanasia takes the sweets and goes with the new maid to the kitchen. When the maid sees the golden plates and spoons, her eyes gleam, and she tries to steal them. She gathers many golden objects and even removes the gemstones from the serving dishes, filling her bag. However, Princess Athanasia notices this, takes the stolen items from her, and tells her that it all belongs to her. The maid takes a knife and approaches Athanasia, chasing her. The princess quickly tries to escape, then unties a rope of a chandelier, causing it to fall on the thief maid. Many servants rush towards the kitchen to check on the little princess. The guards take the thief away, and they leave. At night, Maid Lillian is brushing the little princess's hair and tells her she was very worried about her today because of the thief maid. The princess tells her she is fine, gives her a flower, and thanks her. In the middle of the night, Maid Lillian, when it's bedtime, the princess sleeps in her bed and Maid Lillian leaves the room. The princess speaks to herself, saying, "I'm glad you're safe, Lillian. That's thanks to the prophetic dream I had. If I hadn't done that today, Lillian would have caught the maid and the thief would have stabbed her in the stomach, and Lillian would have died." She continues, "My name is Athanasia. the magical princess who cannot use magic. But I have a secret. I can see my own future. As for my father, he never loved me, and I believe that this terrible dream is likely my destiny. But I do not intend to simply accept it. The scene shifts to His Majesty the Emperor's palace. A guard enters his room with a correspondence, informing him that, according to the knight's reports, a thief entered the Ruby Palace and attacked the little princess, but she managed to handle the matter herself and the thief was captured. The Emperor gets angry and tells the guard he doesn't want to hear those details. The scene then moves to a strange man who wakes up and says, "Who is this who dares to deny the destiny of the Obelian Empire?" He then looks towards the palace. The scene shifts to the servants, perhaps at the royal palace, while Anastasia observes the events from afar. Due to the incident with the thief, the number of people in the kitchen has increased. It will now be very difficult to enter. She says to herself, "I won't let anything like this make me lose my real hope of collecting money." She loves gold or shiny things a lot. She had taken many golden dolls. At that moment, she enters and speaks to the servants, saying, "Good evening. I would like to eat some chocolate, please." All the girls are astonished and very happy that she is asking for something. Indeed, in just a few moments, they prepare the chocolate for her. Everyone was happy with her presence, as she is a beautiful and pleasant girl. The scene moves to Anastasia as she is eating the sweet treat next to the fountain and talking to herself about her dream boy, speculating she might meet him when she turns 19, or perhaps even sooner. "My luck will be wonderful, I think," she concludes. Then she remembers Layla and says, "I will take Layla with me. I will never leave her." At that moment, the chocolate drips onto her and stains her clothes, so she decides to wash herself in the fountain. Layla waits the sunrise and heads out to visit her new house in the cove. The water is hot and deadly, so she decides to wash herself in the... Unfortunately, she nearly falls. She looks at her reflection in the water and remembers people's words when they told her that she looks very much like her mother, while her eyes resemble her father's. However, in terms of magical powers, she unfortunately possesses none. Regarding her eyes, they are very distinctive, but Anastasia says that in reality, there is another girl named Jeanette who possesses the same eyes. Then she says, "This doesn't mean anything to me. I must escape as soon as I gather the money. When I collect the money, I will immediately run away." She had a pouch of dinars, coins, with her, and she decided to hide it in the forest because the front security at the palace is very strict. She kept walking until she reached a certain place and wondered, "It's not the Ruby Palace, so what is this place?" She approached it more closely and entered, finding it completely empty. She remembers hearing some maids say that they were going to reinforce the security well and specifically search the princess's room. Therefore, she quickly ran under her bed, took her money, and went with it to the forest to hide it. However, after a few days, she returns once more to retrieve it. She searches for it left and right. At that moment, she finds that a squirrel has dug it out. She calls out, "Wait, little squirrel!" But it doesn't heed her and runs away quickly. Here, she decides to look for a peanut to offer it so it will leave her jewelry and eat the peanut instead. The plan was successful. This means that there is now no safe place in the forest. She thinks and says, "I must find a safer place." Then she remembers that rented place and goes to it directly. She walks through its halls and finds no one. How can this towering place be shelterless and unknown to anyone, she wonders. Not only that, but she kept walking until she reached the main square, where she finds statues, perhaps made of pure gold. But here, the great surprise happens. She turns around and finds two large people who say, "Since when was this small insect in our palace?" But one of the people deduces that her eyes are exactly the same as his own. She says to him, "Father," but we don't know now if he is her father or not. She then asks, "What exactly is the story? Is this my father? Is this the Demon King's palace? Did I come to the wrong place? Where exactly can I get out of here? I want to escape quickly." The man tries to remember and eventually recalls a girl who is indeed riding a horse. He remembers her and says, "You are Anastasia." Then he recalls what happened at that time when the servants were sitting and said she was a good girl named Anastasia, which is what her mother named her. He says to her, "You have grown up a lot." Then he holds her cheeks and pinches them a few times. Then he tells his servant, "Bring tea immediately." She tries to run away because she doesn't want to drink tea with him, but he catches her quickly. Then her jewels fall onto the floor. After that, they enter the palace, and the sitting arrangement was very awkward. Anastasia says, "What a boring session. Does he want me to speak or say something? How long will I just sit here?" He speaks to her and says, "Are you always silent? Can't you speak? Come on, speak, Annie. I won't do anything to you." Finally, she speaks, and he hears her voice after a session of silence. He brings her cake and food, but she was very shy. His servant enters again, but he tells him to go outside. Then he talks to her about himself, revealing that he is the emperor who once caused chaos in that land, burned much, and misled people. But he is now no longer as he was before. He tells her, "Come on, drink the tea and eat the food, Annie." She was nervous and said, "What should I call him? What should I say to him? Should I call him father?" Then she decides to address him by that name. Claude looked at her but did not answer, causing Anastasia to become tense because she had addressed him specifically as father. She feared he would immediately banish her, thinking she should have just called him Your Majesty the Emperor like anyone else. The scene then shifts to the chief maid, Lillian, talking with the other girls, telling them they must fan out to search for the princess. Suddenly, the princess appears before them, running and crying. The chief maid embraces her and asks where she had been, as she was extremely worried. The royal guard then speaks to Lillian, explaining that the emperor had informed him that he would be summoning his daughter again. Anastasia cries, hating the idea and not wanting to see him again. He had been so cruel before and she didn't know what he was trying to do. He had decided that he would personally supervise the princess from now on. but she resolved not to let him tempt her with sweets. Anastasia then goes with the chief maid, Lillian, to see her father, the Emperor. The Emperor welcomes her and tells her it's been a long time since they last met. She replies that he is right. She had the honor of meeting him last time 5 years ago. The Emperor is surprised that she remembers that. Before he can finish speaking, Anastasia feels so nervous she wants to throw up. Her father is the Emperor of the Obalian Empire, and everyone calls him a great man. But she knows he is cruel and greatly merciful, sarcastically. The Emperor then speaks, saying that he was unable to care for her due to being busy with government affairs, and he entrusts her health and vitality to Lillian. Anastasia understands that he is lying. It's not that he couldn't care for her. If he had wanted to, her life would have been enjoyable. She just wants him to continue leaving her alone and let her return immediately. The Emperor continues, informing Lillian that he heard everything about the incident at the Ruby Palace. From now on, he will personally oversee the princess, and she will receive treatment appropriate for a princess. We move to the maid staff, where Hannah tells her friend says that she never imagined the king would come to the Ruby Palace, and they are now certain that the princess's life will be filled with happiness. We then see the Emperor sitting with the princess at a garden table for breakfast. The princess is still nervous and thinks to herself that she was supposed to avoid her father and live quietly, as her future disaster is caused by meeting him. As long as she never meets him, she can change her future. Yet this is extremely frustrating. The maids place many sweets on the table. The princess is amazed and thinks this is indeed appropriate princess treatment. She thinks to herself that her father was very cold to her before, and she doesn't know what he is trying to do with her. Could it be poisoned? She resolves not to let this cake tempt her. The Emperor asks her why she hasn't eaten, saying he feels she suspects the sweets are poisoned. The princess is shocked that he might be able to read her thoughts. She tells him she likes cake, but Lillian warned her not to eat too many sweets or her teeth would rot. The Emperor is surprised since she ate some yesterday. However, she can't hold back any longer. She takes a bite of the cake and finds it incredibly delicious. Nothing has ever tasted this good. She can't believe she dropped her guard because of a small cake like this. She then decides to eat the whole cake, as it would be wasteful to leave any piece of it. At that moment, the servants and the Emperor's guard watch her from afar. Relieved that she seems to be relaxing a little, the Emperor asks his daughter to join him for a tea session every day. And so, the life of Athie, Anastasia, began, where she saw her father every day, even though she didn't know why he suddenly started playing the role of a happy family with her. This made her very tense. But every now and then, something nice would happen. The princess always tries to perfect things, but this only increases her tension. She tries to learn many things for her father, and every time she makes a mistake, she believes it's over for her. But for some reason, it seems her father has no intention of criticizing her. Perhaps he regrets what happened and is trying to be kind to her. And she believes she is not as afraid of her father as she was before. Anastasia sleeps, and in the morning she gets ready to go for a stroll in the imperial grounds, as she heard there were flowers by the lake. She goes out to her father happily, strolling in the garden and picking many flowers. She runs and plays in the garden with joy. Her father reaches her and tells her he will show her the way and take her in a boat. Lillian informs him that the princess is uncomfortable with water, but the princess reassures Lillian and asks her not to worry, saying she must do what her father asks of her. The Emperor says he will stay with her, so why is she worried? Or does she hate the idea? The princess replies that she didn't mean that at all. She wants to go with him anywhere. Indeed, the princess gets into the boat with her father alone. The princess is very scared when they are by themselves. He stares at her all the time, and she doesn't know what she should say. She is so tense that she can barely breathe. The Emperor asks what she is thinking. She becomes more nervous and tells him that the weather is beautiful, the lake is beautiful, and then tells him his hair is very bright and beautiful, admitting that his hair is indeed beautiful. Every time she sees something golden, she thinks of pure gold. The Emperor understands that she loves shiny things very much and tells her that she has her jewels and the day will come for her to take them. The princess says that time is passing slowly and the wind carries the scent of flowers, which is a very pleasant feeling. Thinking about it now, she doesn't know how they are moving. They aren't rowing anything, yet the boat is moving. She believes this might be because of her father's magic. She looks at his clear blue eyes, like a blue sapphire. She wonders to herself if her father would have loved her if she could use magic. Then the princess sees a blue lotus flower and is captivated by its beauty and sweet fragrance. We see Athie, Anastasia, greatly captivated by the look of the flowers. She wants to touch and take the blue lotus, but she falls into the water. Something strong grips her leg. She calls for her father's help, but he does nothing for her. She then remembers what she dreamt, that because she broke the rules and used dark magic, she would spend the rest of her life in prison. She says, "This was supposed to be my fate always. Despite that, I held on to a little hope. I wished that he would accept me as his daughter." Finally, her father comes and saves her. Afterward, Athie wakes up with Lillian, Lily, by her side to check on her. When Athie realizes her father was the one who saved her, he uses his magic to dry her off. She is very happy that her father is doing all this for her. The Emperor then asks Felix to teach her to swim tomorrow, adding, "It won't be a long story if my daughter drowns." They return to the Ruby Palace and Athie is overwhelmed by the shock and a cold that has left her bedridden, but she keeps thinking about what happened that day. Lillian tells her that the flower is the dream lotus, which creates an illusion to lure living creatures. Its sole purpose is decoration. As long as there aren't many of them, they aren't dangerous. However, if you don't possess magical powers, you will be attracted by its allure. Athie tells her the problem is that she is very weak, but she doesn't want to drink any more of the medicine because it's too bitter. Lillian tells her she must take it, or she won't recover. At night, we see Athie's father by the lake, and then the girl appears, saying to him, "You came to see me?" He tells her that emotions like this were forgotten long ago, but it seems he doesn't hate that girl. Many hands surround Athi's father. We then see Felix very angry and wanting to help the king, saying, "May a shining light illuminate your path someday." Athi's father dismisses him. Afterward, we see Chess rush into Athi's room, saying that many maids have arrived to serve her. Athi is astonished when she sees them. Then Felix arrives, telling her, "I have been assigned to be your guard knight. I look forward to serving you." This concludes today's episode of this anime. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to receive all that is new. So this episode kicks off with Princess Athanasia dreaming. She's dozing off to this gorgeous voice, right? She opens her eyes and she's in this flower-filled garden. She spots her mom way off in the distance. She totally looks like a fairy from a storybook. Athanasia reaches out and calls to her, trying to give her a hug, but then bam, she wakes up crying her eyes out because she misses her mom so much. Felix shows up and scoops her up. She notices he's super early today. He tells her, "His Majesty suggested you guys eat breakfast together. He wants to see you." Athanasia is like, "Yeah, right, my dad would never say that." She looks around and there are 0 knights today, which freaks her out. Felix tells her, "We don't need him today. I'm here. I protect everyone, including your dad, and magic keeps this whole place safe." Felix sets her down and suggests she go wake up the Emperor because he'd be totally thrilled. He closes the door on her. She tries to get out, but nope. Felix has locked her in. She has no choice. She goes in and calls for her dad, getting distracted by this super shiny, golden map. She keeps calling for her dad, but no answer, until she finds him crashed out on a couch instead of his bed. She's confused, like why? She looks at him, then at a portrait of him, and realizes he looks totally different from the guy in her dreams. That guy is pure evil. She tries to wake him, touching his cheek, but he doesn't budge. She tries again, then gets mad and says, "How dare you do all that stuff to me in my dreams?" and starts yanking his ear and cheek to wake him up. Athanasia just keeps messing with her dad's face until his eyes pop open. She then sings to try and put him back to sleep. When Claude finally wakes up, he has breakfast with his daughter. Athanasia tells him, "There's so much stuff in your palace I've never seen, it's super fun." Her dad replies that she should just explore and do whatever she wants in the palace. At that moment, Felix chimes in, informing Claude that Duke Alpheus will arrive any second and actually wants the princess present. Claude orders him to take the Duke to the meeting room, then asks his daughter to come here every day for breakfast before leaving. Athanasia gets stressed about having to come every day, but then she thinks about how her dad said she could explore the palace freely, so she gets up to wander around. When she goes into her dad's room, she sees tons of paintings of the Obelian imperial family. She needs to find her mom's picture because she's positive it has to be somewhere. She really wants to see her face. As she's walking around, she sees her dad's portrait, which confirms her mom's must be there too. She keeps looking until she finds it. Next, we switch to the palace ladies gossiping about the little princess and how Felix is in charge of her. They're wondering how they'll see an empress grow up who can't even use magic. The emperor is so chill that he doesn't even stress about stuff like this. Even a dancer could become a concubine. Suddenly, the emperor pops up right in front of them and orders them never to say that name again. Then we see the little princess in her carriage heading home, holding her mom's portrait. As she really looks at it, she remembers the fire that damaged it. She gets really sad about what happened, then thinks about her parents. She never realized her dad hated her mom this much. After that, she goes to sleep. The next morning, she goes to the servants and tells them she's eating breakfast with her dad. They show her the way. She sits down at the table, completely pumped to see her dad. Claude acts super cold, pretending he hasn't seen her. But she doesn't care because she does most of the talking anyway when they're together. She feels like her dad is bored when she talks, but she ignores that too. All she has to do is not bring up her mom. At that point, Claude asks her what she's thinking about. She asks him about his favorite tea. It smells amazing and she wants to try it. Felix immediately jumps in and tells her that the flavor would be way too strong for her. Athanasia gets sad, but Claude agrees to let her drink it, since there's no reason not to. When Felix puts the cup down, she takes a sip and finds it totally delicious, like flowers blooming in her mouth. Everyone gives her a weird look. Athanasia gets nervous, wondering if she said something she shouldn't have. Felix breaks the silence and tells her it's rice tea, and her dad drinks it a lot because he loves it. It's a type of black tea from her mother Diana's homeland. Felix tells Ati again that it's rice tea, which His Majesty drinks a lot, a kind of black tea from Diana's home. Ati had said the same exact thing Diana did when she tasted it. Then the Emperor says, "I don't recall anything like that," and tells Felix, "You're running your mouth too much today. Leave us alone." We see Ati is bummed because her dad clearly doesn't want to talk to her about her mom. The Emperor then tells Ati, "You're too young for tea. Drink milk instead," and leaves her. Ati gets upset and thinks to herself that he hates her so much and that even in the future, he won't need her. Ati cries and burns all her pictures and drawings. The next day, Ati is sitting alone at the table. The maid apologizes that the Emperor isn't there because he has other business and official duties, so she should start eating first. Ati waits for her dad all the time. Felix shows up in the evening, and as he arrives, she leaves. She then hears the maid talking to Felix. Lately, her appetite has been terrible. She won't even eat sweets. The Emperor's behavior the other day must have shocked her. When Diana was mentioned, his mood totally changed. He doesn't want to talk about her. But I'm sure the princess wants to know about her mom. Felix replies, "But the Emperor's whole mental state was messed up 5 years ago. There are no remaining statues or portraits that show what Diana looked like." Ati stands far away, listening to them talk about her mom. The maid says she wanted to see her mom. Felix interrupts her, saying, "The Emperor can use transfer memory magic. Let's try it. He'll agree for the princess, I'm sure of it." Ati screams at them, "Don't do it! Don't say anything to him! If you talk to him about Diana, he'll hate me even more." She cries and cries, and the maid calms her down. Felix tells her, "The Emperor doesn't hate you or Diana. If you don't believe me, come with me to the Sapphire Palace. Remember when I told you why His Majesty doesn't have a knight assigned to him? The real reason is that he casts protective magic to ensure his safety. Anyone who tries to enter without permission gets blocked. That's why the Sapphire Palace doesn't need guards, and no one tries to get close. This is the extent of his protective magic. Watch from far away." Felix demonstrates that the barrier won't let anyone hostile get in. He concludes, "The Emperor trusts you and Diana. There's no way he hates you." After that, Claude uses his power to restore the images to how they were. He talks to himself, saying, "I was able to forget." But he looks at the pictures, and Athanasia walks in. She tells him, "Actually, Atty hasn't seen you for 2 days, so Felix said that if Atty came to see you, you'd actually see Mommy's Atty, but if you were busy, Atty would just leave." As she's walking out, her dad, Claude, grabs her and asks, "Didn't you rest up?" She's confused by his move and wonders, what is he doing? Why did he suddenly pick me up? Then he takes her to the bedroom, lies down on the bed, and tells her to sleep. She tells him she's not sleepy. He asks her to sing that song, the one that drives away his nightmares. Athanasia wonders to herself, does he mean the song from that time when he was pretending to be asleep? She tells him she forgot it. He asks what would help her remember. She tells him, "Just give up, Papa, I really forgot." He tells her that disobeying an imperial order is a serious crime. She thinks to herself, is that a threat? She answers him, "Okay, maybe I do remember. I'll sing for you now." She starts singing, and her dad, Claude, uses his power to make some stars appear. Athanasia falls asleep next to him. He says to himself, "What a sassy girl. She's just like her mother." Athanasia dreams of her mother and father in the garden and thinks, "I didn't know Papa smiled like that." It's like her mom is saying, "This is true happiness." And that's how the episode ends. If you liked the video, hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you get all our new stuff. Hello girls, hello boys, welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are all ready with the summary of chapter number 5 of A Charming Princess. Our little princess Athanasia has grown a little more. She has new problems to face, especially the fact that she doesn't have magic. Although her father loves her more and more, so there's no drama on that side. Of course, she's doing some things with magic books that could get her into a lot of trouble. After that, this guy who was investigating the whole time shift thing has already shown up. But anyway, tell us what you thought of this chapter number 5. Please leave your likes, comments, and you can also subscribe to support the channel. The scene shifts to Cloud having to get up after that sweet nap together because Felix says there's someone looking for him, and it seems Cloud has an idea of who it is. And Athanasia wakes up too, from another perspective. We go to the Emperor's throne and see that the person who needed to talk to Cloud is called Alpheus, who asks him that since the princess is already old, she should find a playmate, or someone to help her study. And of course, he suggests his son, Ezekiel, who is 3 years older than Princess Athanasia, and who could help him with the whole issue of raising her. Obviously, this Alpheus wants to be close to the Emperor, to power. After that, we see that Athanasia arrives at the throne and knows that this guy doesn't have very good intentions, that he simply wants to get closer to Cloud. Since he was the one who presented that day when Athanasia was exiled, he presented this girl named Jeanette Margarita, whom he baptized the true princess of the kingdom of Obelia. Just like that, she approaches her father, sits on his lap to say that she doesn't need any kind of friend or help to study, that she has learned a lot, and yes, the truth is that she is a pretty smart girl, Athanasia, and it is clear that she doesn't need anyone else. But the ugly one doesn't shut up and asks her if she is also doing very well in the subject of magic, because he knows that obviously the princess can't use it. So that was a low blow. After that, Cloud gave in and told her that for now his daughter didn't need anyone. But this thing about magic is true. Athanasia may know a lot about the world, its laws, Obelia, but she has no magic, and sooner or later she believes that someone could challenge her for the kingdom, for everything she has, in a duel of magic, and she wouldn't be able to do anything. Therefore, she gets access to a magic item that spins when it detects a person's magic power, and the faster it spins, the more magic power the person has. But it doesn't do anything with Athanasia, which is a bit strange, since her father Cloud has the greatest magic power in the entire kingdom, and her mother was a magic dancer. So it's absolutely strange that she can't use it. From another perspective, we see Lillian walking along the city's roads, buying some fruits and things for the princess, and everyone is obviously talking about her. It's just a matter of time before they obviously name her after the princess. It's been 2 years since they last tried to get Athanasia a study buddy. The scene shifts to the library while Athanasia was reciting what appears to be a poem with her father listening attentively. The ugly one, Alpheus, comes to him again, telling him that now Athanasia has grown up, that every time he sees her she is more charming, and that if now she is ready to have a person to study with, but that it does not need to be his son, since he has a girl his age named Jeanette Margarita. Athanasia doesn't want to hear anything about that woman and wants her completely away from her, and her father too. So she starts telling Alpheus that she knows much more than that Jeanette, that she can't help him with any kind of studies, and she starts reciting to him what Obelia's constitution is article by article. Come on, she's an impressive girl. So Alpheus doesn't really have much else to offer that's useful. And not only that, but this supposed Jeanette also has some similar tastes to Athanasia, since a famous book has just arrived from another kingdom, and Jeanette is waiting for it to be translated so she can read it. And Athanasia gives her one as a gift to take to Jeanette, and it was just a flex. Why? Because on the cover it says that it was translated by herself, by Athanasia. Yes, she is an extremely intelligent girl. She simply asks Alpheus to bend down, and she touches his hair, telling him it's as soft as a white bunny, telling her to remember that she doesn't need anyone by her side. Silly. From another perspective, Cloud watches all this and gives her a book that Athanasia had been asking for. The scene shifts to Athanasia once again in the forest, trying to unleash her magical powers, since this book was a grimoire containing spells, incantations from a rather ancient wizard whose name had already been lost. And one of those spells served to unleash or reveal a person's magical power. So Athanasia tries it, makes the seal on the ground, and the book disappears. It goes to another location. And here, Athanasia collides with this guy who had been investigating this temporal change that had happened. When he sees what he felt led him to Athanasia, he believes he was wrong, that she is not the one who made all this temporary change. After that, Felix arrives to talk to Athanasia, to take her away from there. But this guy with a snap of his fingers makes Felix forget what he was doing and leaves there, leaving them alone. And where this guy, who calls himself Lucas, who is the most powerful magician of all, says not to do that spell, that incantation that was in the book, because it could bring bad things, and he leaves there. Athanasia then say, and he puts out his hand, he looks at Lucas, and he leaves there. Afterwards, Athanasia tries to tell Felix that he had been bewitched, but he doesn't believe him. And with all this, Felix goes to Cloud, telling him that maybe, just maybe, the little princess needs a friend her own age since, well, she needs a boy so she can talk about boy things. Obviously apologizing and saying that he has nothing to do with the noble Alpheus, that he is not supporting him in offering it to someone or anything like that. It's just a comment, and Cloud looks at him and says that he's basically trying to tell him that none of them can entertain a child. So Felix gets offended and runs out of there crying. The scene shifts to the afternoon. Athanasia arrives at tea time with her father, where she is especially delighted to eat cakes. A chocolate one that is her favorite, but which lately she goes to the kitchen to look for but never finds. Come on, they're stealing his chocolate cake and he doesn't know who it is, but his dad always has it. Here, Cloud directly asks Athanasia if she needs to have a friend, if she wants one, that she can choose it herself if she wants. But Athanasia tells him that it is not necessary since her father, Lilian, and Felix are more than enough. She's fine. And basically, Athanasia wants to be calm until she turns 18 because she has to continue researching how to use her magic if she doesn't really have it. After that, he uses this book again in the spell that this suspicious wizard had told him not to do, and we see how some chains break. This book showed what her life was going to be like, which Athanasia dreamed about every night, and that's why she knew everything that was going to happen. Some magical chains are broken and something happens. But here again appears this mysterious magician who calls himself Lucas, telling him that he had told him not to do it. He also asks him who his father is, because it is obvious that he has Obelian blood, and begins to name some very, very ancient kings. And it has been 400 years since the last king, appointed by this mysterious magician who calls himself Lucas. But that's the least of Lucas's concerns. He simply approaches Athanasia, looks at her eyes, and tells her that in that Obelian family, the bluer and lighter the eyes, the more powerful they are in magic. It is very strange that Athanasia does not own anything of it. Lucas uses his magic to see what secrets Athanasia is hiding, but she continues to resist. After that, here, Lucas drops her from the heights to make her talk, but she is saved by a black cloud which escapes when Lucas threatens her. We don't know where the cloud came from, but it saved Athanasia. Obviously, Athanasia sees that this guy wants to hurt her, so she runs away from there. But she can't escape from Lucas. And in fact, Lucas excuses here Athanasia remembers what protective magic spells were like, and casts one. So yes, a magical power has just been activated, and we were assuming that she couldn't possess magic. Lucas stands still and simply breaks this defensive spell, and is left thinking that they will soon see each other again. After that, Athanasia, who is running through the forest to see her father to tell him everything that had happened, ends up fainting and also coughing up blood. Something bad is happening to him. Obviously, Felix and Cloud are very worried. Thus ends chapter number 5 of A Charming Princess. The truth is that a very good, very intriguing chapter 5. More years have passed. Obviously, Athanasia's relationship with her father is becoming more and more solidified. She's already the princess no matter what, but she's tried to improve in every way she can so that she won't be displaced. Still, what it doesn't have is magic, and it's necessary. So he's trying to do everything, and it seems like what he just did now caused him a lot of damage. Let's hope he's okay, but we'll see in the next chapter. Tell us what you thought of this chapter number 5. Leave your comments, your likes, and nothing else. Thank you very much for watching. The episode begins with Cloud summoned all the healer wizards in the castle. One by one they came to try to cure and see what was happening to Athanasia, but none of them found the source of her discomfort. Everyone apologized to him, so Cloud wanted to send for all the wizards who know something about healing in the entire kingdom, but it wasn't necessary, since Lucas appeared by himself, now in a much smaller package, a mini Lucas in a child's body. He said to leave everything to him. By the way, we see that a clock starts to move, and behind it is Athanasia's heart, as if it were a seal, and something is also affecting Cloud himself. During Athanasia's dreams, while she was in a coma, we have Diana, who sang songs to her while she was still in her womb. A very nice dream, but Athanasia's woken up by little Lucas, and when she sees him, she gets a little scared because she knows that he is the same one who had already told her that she didn't have to do that spell, because it was going to endanger her life, and Athanasia didn't listen to him. So here she wanted to play dumb a bit, not pay attention to him, but it was Lucas himself who told her that he had saved her. So at least she deserved a thank you. Athanasia's chest didn't even hurt now. They have a moment there to fight, but Cloud just arrives with Lilia and Felix, who were the happiest that Athanasia could finally be up and healthy, since she had been in bed for a whole month. And we see how her relationship with her father has already improved a lot, since he carries her and lovingly asks her if she is okay now. When Atanias tried to tell him that Lucas was the cause or that he had tried to hurt her, Lucas spoke quickly and said that with all the help Atanias had given him, he felt a little bad that he had used all his magic and was obviously acting. I just didn't want Atanas to spill the beans and say things he shouldn't. He acted a little weak, almost fainting, so Cloud went to hold him. And here Luke used magic and managed to see some things that we still don't understand. Still, Cloud tells him that he will reward him properly for having helped. Obviously, having saved his daughter, and that for now he can stay in the palace taking care of the princess. So, Lucas got what he wanted, and Atanas couldn't do anything. It turns out that with the concern now Claude is going to make his daughter go to the Esmeralda Palace, that he leaves the Ruiz Palace because he is very old. Atanasia obviously has her doubts and worries, since the one who arrived at the Emerald Palace had been Jeanette in her visions, so she is afraid of meeting her, but for now she is only going to think about spending time with her father and also getting rid of this new problem she has, which is Luca following her everywhere. He's basically living for free in the castle. Because you have to continue taking care of your health. Atanasia asks him if he is not a liar, why is he pretending to be a child? And from what Lucas tells him, he's been asleep for 400 years, and his magic isn't at 100% yet. And his real adult body uses too much energy, so that's why he has to be in that tiny little child shape. Besides, according to him, he had also used his magic to save Atanasia. Because the problem had been that someone sealed Atanasia's power, and her trying to free it made all this contained magic come out at once. Come on, Atanasia's power is extremely high. She possesses a lot of magic, and the person who sealed her magic did so to help her. Because if he hadn't done so, her body basically wouldn't have withstood so much power. Just as Lucas tells Claudia as much as others that Athanasia is probably the most powerful monarch in the Empire, here appears the creature that had saved Atanaza when Lucas had caught her and dropped her, which turns out to be a being created by Atanaza's own magic. It is a divine beast, and Lucas advises him not to touch it too much. Why? Because as it is its own magic, it is made of power. Every time Atanasia touches him, she is consuming that magic. It is returning to her body, and this is dangerous because we already said that it is too much power and can explode at any moment. He's basically a walking bomb, since Kuro, as Atanas named the little kitten, or Blackie in English, is the incarnation of Atanasia's magic. The main thing Lucas tells her is that Atanasia must learn to control her magic so that her body doesn't break down and she can use it. The problem is that he tries to control this magic, but now it seems that he has no magic again. Even the teacher assigned to Atanasia to teach her how to use her magic gives up, telling her that the princess has reached her limit. She takes Kuro back, but Lucas reappears and tells her to listen to him, to stop touching Kuro, because that could cause her to absorb all of his magic again, and he would have to save her again. Assange tries to hide Kuro from her father, but the first to come out and tell everything is Lucas, the one who always acts in front of the king. Is dangerous for the princess, but if she touches him from time to time, nothing will happen, and he'll keep an eye on her to make sure nothing happens to her. So, Atanasia sees that, although it is a little annoying, he also tries to help her. And while Atanasia has this moment to thank her father for letting her stay with Kuro, Atanasia continues trying to control her magic on her own, but she can't, and she does increasingly dangerous things. And Lucas suddenly appears to bother her by telling her to be careful. So here Atanasia comes up with something. Since he was the one who told her she had to learn to control her magic, maybe he could help him. And the way he's going to convince him, so to speak, is that he's always around, and he's always hungry, so now you have a way to offer him something in return for his teachings. We see that the noble thieves went again with Cloud to insist on this friendship that Atanasia needs, but he will no longer be her son because he is going to study abroad. But instead he once again offers him the friendship of Jeanette, who has been trying hard for the princess. Cloud tells Atanasia that if she wants, she can be her friend, and if not, it's fine. But Atanasia says yes, that it's a good idea to be friends, but that she has her own choice. And this is where Lucas comes in. Now he wants him as a friend, and obviously Lucas is also going to teach him how to use his magic. They go through different ways of how to control Atanasia's magic, to teach her the basics, and even make her exercise, since her body must be strong to be able to use much more power. It's not easy at all, since it seems that Atanasia has a lot of sealed power and this makes it difficult for her to use any of it. But little by little she manages to do the most basic thing, which was to use her magic on a writing pen, which was levitating the pen while she was sleeping, so his magic is working, and Lucas can see that. Lucas asks her why she tries so hard when it's not necessary, since to live peacefully as she already is, she doesn't need anything else. But of course, it's not just what Atanasia wants. She wants to continue sharing her time with her father. She wants to be his beloved daughter, Cloud's favorite. So that's why she tries so hard to be by his side. And we see that Cloud is already delighted with his daughter. He already smiles and hugs her every chance he gets. We see that he had been worried about this Lucas. He investigated him and sent Felix to do it. And of course, it seems that several people know Lucas from his magic class, but none of them have any memory of him, so possibly all he did was implant memories. Basically, Luke is not in the records because we already know he is over 400 years old. Felix says that it could be dangerous for him to be next to the princess, but we see that Cloud also used his eyes, his powers, to see a little of him at that moment when they approached. And he says that this Lucas comes from a place called Ogre, and that he doesn't seem to have any bad intentions towards Atanasia, so he's going to leave her by his side. Felix tells her that it's noticeable that he's growing more attached to his daughter, and when he says that, he regrets it and quickly leaves. We see that it is true, Cloud reflects, and says that now he understands that what he feels is love. Thus ends chapter number 6 of A Charming Princess. As I said, a very nice, very good episode. It gets more and more entertaining, and with the inclusion of Lucas, it will undoubtedly be a great addition to the series. Adanasia is still a child for now, but we'll probably soon have that time jump where we can see her a little older. Tell me what you thought of the episode, leave your comments and likes so I can keep bringing you the summaries of this anime. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one. The episode of this anime begins when Athanasia was with the magician who is teaching her, and all the magic path is her life. She tells him that no matter what the job is, she knows that if she works hard she can do anything, but she was completely wrong. She tells him that his sense of responsibility is very poor. The magician asks her if she is still determined to have him teach her every small detail. She replies that it does not necessarily have to be every small detail, but she is new to this and he should be a little kinder to her. The magician informs her that magic is the application of her magical power to operate the necessary elements, and before she does that, she must compose these elements through her own efforts. Athanasia gets angry with him and asks him to stop talking nonsense. The magician mocks her greatly. Athanasia asks him not to laugh at her, as she only wants him to teach her seriously and make her work while she does nothing. The magician speaks to her seriously, saying that magical power is something they are born with, and everyone uses it differently. For example, he uses his magical power to pour tea and tidy the place. Then he tells her that he does it the right way, not like she does, so she must earn it herself, or this magic will never be hers. Athanasia thinks to herself a lot, because she wants to do it alone since he did not even want to teach her the basic trick behind it. The magician tells her that he indeed did not want to tell her anything because she must acquire it herself. She begs him to tell her any detail, but the magician does not answer her and tells her that she is very foolish. Then she remembers when she was with her father, where she was trying to use magic to cut a pomegranate in half, but she could not do it. Her father asks her not to pressure herself, as long as this matter is very difficult for her. Then he tells her that she should think differently to address the problem of her magical power. His daughter told him that this matter did not cause her a problem, and she would manage it herself. Then we return to reality again when Athanasia was sitting with the magician, where she tells him that she is very exhausted. The magician informs her that what she is doing is never right, as this behavior is bad for a princess. She tells him that what she is doing is from his teaching. He replies that this is how magic is taught, and the matter was the same 400 years ago. Athanasia is astonished, because he means that he also learned magic the same way, and that he has lived a very long life then. Then she tells him that she still does not trust him, as she does not know who he is, where he came from, or his full name. He replies that he told her before that he is a great magician and that is all, and he did not tell her anything else. Athanasia gets angry with him and tells him that if she had known he was this annoying, she would have asked for Duke Alpheus' son instead of him, as he is much more understanding than him, and was not as arrogant or selfish as him. And he tries to understand the person sitting with him and is nice to strangers too. She wishes she had not been biased against Duke Alpheus' son, as the boy did not necessarily have to be bad because his father is Duke Alpheus. The magician gets angry with her and tells her that it looks like she desperately wants to be that man's friend. Then, he fulfills her wish and sends her from her place to that place, where she falls from the sky to the ground, terrified, as she does not know where the magician sent her. Then she falls onto that boy. When he sees her, he is impressed by her beauty and asks her if she is an angel or what. When Athanasia looks at him closely, she realizes that he is the son of Duke Alpheus, and his name is Ezekiel. When he asks her again if she is an angel or what, Athanasia replies that she cannot tell him who she is. Then she tells him shyly that he is right, she is an angel, just as he said. Then she says to herself that she wants to do anything to cover everything up. Ezekiel looks at her with wonder, because her eyes are blue like a jewel, and only the direct descendant of the imperial family possesses these eyes. Then he knows that she is Princess Athanasia of the Abelian Empire. His father then arrived and interrupted them, but Athanasia disappeared because she did not want Ezekiel's father to see her. He asks him what he is doing here alone, and Ezekiel tells him there is nothing, he was just thinking a little. We see Athanasia very worried, because if his father finds her, things will become complicated. They look exactly alike after she saw them together. After that, his father asks him, "Are you dissatisfied with your study plans abroad in Arlianta?" But Ezekiel tells him, "It's not a matter of me being dissatisfied. I'm worried about Jeanette. She cried a lot, and repeatedly said that she doesn't want us to be separated." His father replies, "There's no need to listen to everything she says. Instead of her selfish whims, you should think about the prosperity of our family. I planned for you to be the princess's study partner. If you attract the princess's attention, there will be no need for your studies abroad. But for some reason, the princess seems to consider me an enemy." Ezekiel tells him that the princess has the right to choose for herself. We cannot force her. Then his father asks him, "Are you done preparing your bag? You will leave soon." Then we see Ezekiel break his silence, saying, "I can study in Ubelia as well. Have you reconsidered sending me to study abroad?" His father gets angry, saying, "If you want things to go your way, you must gain the necessary skills to achieve them." Then they leave. The princess comes out and asks Ezekiel, "Are you all right or not?" saying, "I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard everything that happened between you." We see Ezekiel very sad. Athanasia says to herself, "I can't go back now. I can be here for him instead." Then she talks to Ezekiel, asking him to tell her about his worries and not to be so sad. Ezekiel becomes very happy that she will listen to him and asks her, "Do you feel pressured by your family?" "I am proud to be the successor of my family, but this means I am not allowed to act on my own. Sometimes it's hard to understand the reason for my existence in this life, and sometimes the scenarios my father creates exhaust me." Athanasia says to herself, "He's about the same age as me, but he's balanced." In my dreams, Ezekiel, with his father, always made me think he was cunning like his father. I never imagined he would have this sensitive side, always worrying about others' perception. It's not an easy thing for anyone. After that, Athanasia talks to Ezekiel happily, saying, "You should finish your studies as soon as possible. It bothers me that you don't possess the sufficient skills to get things done." Ezekiel laughs a lot, saying, "I was telling myself that you are absolutely right. The power struggle between the nobles never ends. Standing up and facing all that, that's what my father is training me for. He might seem cold-hearted, but that is an expression of his kindness and affection. As the successor to the family, I want to live up to his expectations." Athanasia smiles slightly at Ezekiel, telling him, "You are a very strong person." Suddenly, the magician uses his power and brings her to him, saying to her, "It seems you had a fun time. If things had continued that way, I wouldn't have been able to have dinner at the Duke's house." Athanasia gets angry at him and hits him, saying, "Because you sent me there and then dragged me back here doing as you please. Think about my feelings for once. You do whatever you want and won't teach me magic. You don't think about other people's feelings. You are terrible. Suddenly I disappeared without saying goodbye. He must think I'm very rude. I'm very upset." Then the magician suggests that she go back and explain everything to him. But Athanasia gets very angry with him, saying, "Don't complicate things more than they already are. Listen to me for once. I can't stand staying with you." Then the scene shifts to the garden, and the maid says, "Since the magician arrived, vitality has pulsed in the princess." Athanasia hurries off, and Lillian asks her, "Your Highness, it is almost time for dinner. Where are you going?" Athanasia says to herself, "That Lucas, he is very provocative. I will not talk to him anymore." She says, "A week has passed already and I still can't use any new magic. What does he mean by acquire? I don't understand. If things remain like this, everything I saw in my dreams will happen." Then her mother calls out to her, and Athanasia is surprised and says, "What was that? It was as if I heard Mom's voice." Then her mother's image appears on the water, and Athanasia asks her, "Am I truly incapable of doing anything?" Her mother tells her, "You worked hard. It's okay if you can't use magic. Of course, you are my beloved daughter." Athanasia goes to hug her mother, and while hugging her mother, Athanasia falls into the lake. The magician senses that Athanasia is in danger, so he uses his power to go to her and save her. Athanasia uses her power to save herself, and asks herself, "Did I use it?" The magician replies to her, "Yes, you acquired water magic. It's not like I came here to save you. I just happened to be passing by." Athanasia asks him, saying, "Lucas, did you see that? I used magic." She is happy because she used her magic and tells him that she is moving away from the Lotus of Dreams. Then she tells him, "You are arrogant all the time, really, but your words had an impact." Then she thanks him and asks him, "Will you continue giving me magic lessons, please?" Lucas replies that he agrees and tells her, "Let's go back." He asks her, "I'm not scaring you, am I? You know I'm a powerful magician, yet you punched me." Athanasia replies to him saying, "So what if you are a powerful magician? Would you punch back?" Lucas replies, "No need. I don't intend to fight a child." Athanasia tells him, "You are a child too, so this is what you meant by acquire. This is not difficult at all." Then Lillian rushes to her and asks her, "What happened, Your Highness?" Athanasia replies to her, saying, "Everything is fine. I just lay down on some grass." Then Claude comes from behind her and asks her, "Lay down on some grass? And what is the nature of the magic you were studying?" And so, today's episode ends. If you liked the video, please click like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. The anime episode begins with Ionasia trying to move her teacup using a wind spell while with Lucas. She successfully casts the spell and the cup moves. Thrilled, she tells Lucas she can now move objects from afar. Lucas replies that he never expected her to learn so quickly. He truly is a genius. He announces it's time to teach her something much more spectacular. She immediately asks if she can learn magic to make someone float. Lucas shuts her down, saying her dreams are getting ahead of her. He explains that moving objects remotely is just the basics. If she wants to make someone float, she first needs to master moving much larger, solid objects. When Athanasia asks what kind of larger objects he means, Lucas proceeds to levitate everything around them, including Anasia herself. Terrified, Anasia begs him to stop. After he finishes the demonstration, he asks for her opinion. Sure, she must be thoroughly impressed now. Frightened, she stammered, "You're right, you are the most amazing. But that was my teacup. Please bring it back right now." Anashade then laments that learning magic is too difficult. She doesn't understand how others do it. She decides to go talk to Ezekiel. Realizing she didn't get to say a proper goodbye last time, she asks Lucas if he can send her to the Alphys mansion again. Just like before, Lucas teases her, suggesting she's thinking about the Duke's son so much she can't forget him. Anasia cuts him off, insisting she has important business there. He refuses, citing her mana as being too precious, and he won't let her waste it. She gets upset, pointing out he just wasted it on the levitation spell moments ago. He counters that he only did what she asked, then casts the blame on her, wondering what scheme she's planning this time. Anasia tries a different approach. She flatters him intensely, calling him a handsome and amazing wizard, then begs him sweetly. Though clearly affected, he pretends to be indifferent. "Fine, I won't stop you if you really want to go." He then transports her there. There she meets Ezekiel and greets him, saying she came back to bother him again. He replies that she takes him by surprise every time she appears and jokes that she must be a fairy. She answers that all fairy tales say fairies appear and disappear whenever they please. Ejek then looks into her eyes and asks about their red color. Inaj recalls that she had asked Lucas to change her eye color to red, matching his before she left. Back in the present, Ezekiel tells her he was very worried when she vanished so suddenly last time, but he was reassured once he knew she was safe. Anasia tells him she returned because she wasn't able to say a proper farewell. Ezekiel is overjoyed that she cares about him, admitting he had been praying to meet her again. Athanasia looks around and notices he's packing his belongings. He confirms he is leaving. The ship headed to Atlanta arrives in 2 days. Athanasia is saddened that he will be moving so far away from her in the capital. However, she recalls that he is the future duke and is supposed to grow up surrounded by love and protection. He is also fated to fall in love with Jeanette, become her sweetheart, and live a happy and fulfilling life. As she moves around the room, she trips over a suitcase and falls to the floor. But Eject catches her before she hits the ground. He then gathers the books that scattered. Inaja looks at him and thinks to herself that he truly works hard. She hasn't even read those books yet. Eject tells her that his father's arrangements are correct. Despite Atlanta being far away, it has excellent teachers. Athanasia asks when he will return. He replies that he will return when he is worthy to face the princess. Jeanette arrives to see Ezekiel. She asks him to read a book with her and go outside, but he firmly refuses. She asks if someone is in his room. He tells her he will close the door and rejoin her shortly, then excuses himself from Anasia, saying he won't be long. Athanasia comments to herself that Jeanette must be a very lovely child based on her voice. She realizes that this is Jeanette, the figure who has appeared in her prophetic dreams all this time. Jeanette's mother was the Duke's younger cousin and Anasia's father's former fiancé. There were rumors that her mother slighted Anasia's father when he wasn't the heir to the throne. When he claimed the throne, he ended the engagement based on her previous behavior. She later vanished after becoming involved with another royal noble. She died giving birth to the child with jewel eyes, Jeanette. Jeanette was then adopted by the Duke, grew up to be beautiful and elegant, eventually catching her father's eye once Duke Elphys introduced her, and becoming beloved by everyone as the happy princess. Anasia concludes, "I'm supposed to hate her." Suddenly Lucas appears and states that Jeanette is a chimera, a child created using black magic. They proceed to follow and observe Jeanette. Anasia asks why they are tracking them. Lucas assures her not to worry. He set up a magical curtain so they cannot see them. "I am deeply fascinated by that chimera. Do not interrupt my observations." Jeanette asks Ezekiel to spend some time with her and he offers to play a musical piece for her. Lucas speaks to Anasia again, stating that the more he looks at this chimera, the more he notices her mana wavelength is impure, as if it's mixed with something else. She is surrounded by an aura of black magic. Anasia gets angry, telling Lucas he's overreacting. "She's a beautiful and charming girl." Lucas points out, "You defend her too much. She has the blue eyes of the Oilian royal family. Could she possibly be your sister? Come on, let's follow them." Ezekiel asks Jeanette if she would like to hear a specific musical piece, but she says no. She loves everything he plays. Athanasia speaks up to Lucas. "That's enough. Let's go. This is not something we should be eavesdropping on." They continue watching Ezekiel play for Jeanette, and Jeanette begins to cry. Ezekiel stops playing, and Jeanette apologizes, saying she just wanted to listen to his piano playing. He assures her he will play again. Jeanette asks him to stay, saying she wants to hear him play the piano as usual. Ezekiel reveals that leaving was his father's idea. Jeanette insists she will talk to the Duke and ask him to let Ezekiel stay. He tells her, "This is my wish too." She asks him, "Why aren't I the one you love the most? Don't you always do everything I ask?" Ezekiel tells her, "This situation is different." Jeanette responds, "You are the only one who cares about me. If you leave, I will." Ezekiel assures her he won't be gone forever and promises to write to her. Jeanette cries, "Don't leave, brother." Anasia reflects, thinking, so Jeanette also faces moments of separation like this. She begs, but she is powerless to change the situation. Anasia remembers herself begging her own parents and questions why her father didn't care about her. "We both lost our parents at a young age. Jeanette is just like me. We are both lonely." She returns to the present and says to herself, "I don't know why, but I really want to see my father right now." Lucas asks her, "You saw her future, didn't you?" Anasia denies it, saying, "Seeing the future is something even my father can't do." She asks Lucas why he is talking about this with a child. Lucas replies that she is no ordinary child and tells Athanasia they are heading back home. He muses to himself, "How will things develop from here? My interest is growing more and more." Athanasia mentally says goodbye to Ezekiel and Jeanette. The scene shifts to Anasia, rushing excitedly toward her father, telling him how much she missed him. Claude comments that she shows up whenever she pleases. Felix says, "Your Majesty, you're acting like a crow today." Anasia asks, "Am I cute like a crow?" Felix replies, "You are the cutest on the entire continent." Claude tells Felix, "Don't spoil her too much. Keep a 10-foot distance from her." Claude then asks Athanasia, "Why did you suddenly come looking for me?" Anasia replies that she's been studying magic all this time and hasn't had a chance to see him. She missed him. Claude asks, "Is studying magic exhausting?" Anasia says, "It is exhausting. I don't get enough sleep every day, but I will absolutely not give up halfway." Claude tells her, "You must have exerted yourself more than I imagined. I initially thought I would just accept it when you suggested giving up, but I see your determination now. Go on and keep working at it." And Anasia asks him, "Will you always love me, father?" Her father asks why she says that. She replies, "She just needs to know." Her father answers, "Of course." Anasia is thrilled. "It's a promise. Things will stay this way forever." Her father confirms, "Yes, it's a promise." The scene transitions to Anasia sitting on her bed talking to herself. "It's fascinating to see people from my dreams. I quickly notice that things in reality differ little by little from my dreams. My father doesn't reject me like he did in my dreams. I is different from his father and Jeanette just wants to be loved by her family. Nothing more. Perhaps I was overly influenced by my prophetic dreams. That's not good. Then, Lucas appears, speaking to himself. Interesting. Fate is diverging more and more. Which direction will you lead this story, my little princess? And that concludes today's episode. If you like the video, please hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button so you receive every new update.